there are sort of three, they're not quite stages of the conversation because they can happen somewhat simultaneously, but there are, I wrote about it in Supercoach, there's kind of three things that happen in a transformative conversation, in a conversation about the nature of the human experience. And the fundamental one, the one that is the game changer in my experience, is the one I call shifting the foundations. And it's the one in which, and you don't necessarily know it's going to be the one you're in, right? It's the one in which your fundamental ground of being shifts from an outside-in world where circumstances and events and history and people create your experience to an inside-out world where it's pretty damn clear to you most of the time that we're all living in these thought-created realities, and we all have our feet in a deeper reality, a reality that does not change with our ever-changing thoughts and moods. It's the shift from I'm broken, how do I fix myself or cope better? How do I mitigate? To I am perfect, whole, complete. I do not need major renovations. There is nothing wrong with me. And I have capacities in me simply because I am human that are amazing. And I can do cool shit if I'm drawn to do cool shit. And that shift in foundations from broken to whole, from outside in to inside out, that's the game changer. That's the one where if enough people in my mind have that shift, the level of conscious state of the planet goes up, and 90%, 95% of the shit that we deal with in the world goes away. But even once the foundations have shifted, there's still so much more in the conversation. Again, not in the conversation with Michael Neill, just in the conversation about the nature of the human experience. And the two categories. One is expanding possibilities. When we start to see that the edge of the world, I used to say about T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, that he was so inspirational that his men would follow him over the edge of the world. He's the one who said, those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind wake to find it was all vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous, for they may act their dreams with open eyes and make things happen. When we wake up from the dream of thought to the dream of thought, our world instantly gets better. Our possibilities for life, what we can do, what we can create, what we can be a part of, expand and expand and expand. Infinite potential, infinite possibilities. And that's one of the fruits of the ongoing conversation. And then the other is going deeper. I don't know if it was his phrase, but I first heard it from Dr. Aaron Turner. We're all halfway up an infinite ladder of consciousness. Now, I guess going deeper would suggest we're all halfway down an infinite ladder of consciousness, an infinite slide of consciousness, depending on which version of the game you like. But so going deeper is just realizing that I've actually never heard an enlightened teacher say they were done. They usually say, now I can begin. And the more you see, the more you see. I remember a book years ago. One of the first enlightened guys I spent any time with was a guy named Michael Barnett out in Italy. And at one point he had another breakthrough epiphany beyond the original enlightenment one. And he didn't have a word for this new ground of being, this new level of conscious state. And so he made one up. He said, yeah, I'm kind of in the quinks. I just always remembered it because it was such a cool word. Like, that's what's cool about the conversation to me. Possibilities expand. The roots go deeper and deeper. And the deeper the roots, the higher the tree. The deeper the roots, the more stable the structure. The more grounded in the formless, the more we can create in the form. So, guess what? I love this conversation, and so I'm going to invite you to join me for them. So, in terms of expanding possibilities, we've got a program, I've been talking about it, called the Effortless Success Mastermind. It is a small group. There are actually, not at the moment, but there are actually 400 people doing this group. There will be probably 10 doing that group. Very different feel. It's over 7 months. It's a higher price point because there's a lot less of us. But if you are interested in creating in the world, if the game of success still feels like a fun game, but you'd like to do it from this foundation, I invite you to check out the Effortless Success Mastermind. It starts 1st of June, and see if it's a fit. And it will not be for most of you. But for those of you it is a fit for, oh my God, it will be a fit for. So check it out. It's at, oh, this is where Lynn's going to catch me out. michaelneill.org/effortless mastermind. Thumbs up, thumbs up. How did, yes. All right, one for 3. Everything to play for. Okay. In terms of going deeper, some of you will have seen, I sent out an email for a new program starting in September called The Invitation. And this came to me on the dog walk a week ago. I was thinking about what's next, because for me, like, this is how I get to stay in the conversation, is by hosting conversations. And all of a sudden, I remembered something that I'd said, and I think it was on one of these calls to somebody. I think it was to Chen. And I said, this is an invitation, not an admonition. This is not a, you need to do this. This is a, hey, do you want to come play? This is, there was a lovely post in the group today from Leslie about how she gets so excited about sharing this. She feels like a puppy playing with a ball, and she wants all the other people, all the other creatures to play with their ball too. Go on, come on, play, come on, throw it. It's great. And sometimes that doesn't work so well. I don't know if you've noticed that. But an invitation's just an invitation. Hey, we're having a party. We're having a conversation. We're going deeper. We're doing some spiritual spelunking. Do you want to come? And so it's an invitation. It's an invitation to wake up from the dream of thought. It's an invitation to meet your soul. And if you've met your soul, spend some quality time together. It's an invitation to live an impossibly wonderful life. And Julie posted this beautiful poem, and I've see if yeah, I think actually she does have the name of it here. I wanted to read it to you for anyone who missed it in the feed. It's from a poet named Chilan Harkin, who apparently had a spiritual epiphany while visiting the place where the leader of the Baha'i faith had her spiritual epiphany. And it's called Say Wow. Each day before our surroundings become flat with familiarity, and the shapes of our lives click into place, dimensionless and average as Tetris cubes. Before hunger knocks from our bellies like a cantankerous old man, and the duties of the day stack up like dishes, and the architecture of our basic needs commissions all thought to construct the 4-door sedan of safety. before gravity clings to our skin like a cumbersome parasite, and the colored dust of dreams sweeps itself obscure in the vacuum of reason. Each morning, before we wrestle the world and our heart into the shape of our brain, look around and say, wow. Feed yourself fire. Scoop up the day entire like a planet-sized bouquet of marvel sent by the universe directly into your arms and say, wow. Break yourself down into the basic components of primitive awe and let the crescendo of each moment carbonate every capillary and say, wow. Yes, before our poems become calloused with revision, let them shriek off the page of spontaneity, and before our metaphors get too regular, let the sun stay a configuration of homing pigeons that fights through fire each day to find us. That's an invitation. That's all it is. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to live an impossibly wonderful life. And that's what the invitation is. And if you want to see more, I'm going to just say go to michaelneill.org because I'm guessing it's there. I don't know. Is it something like michaelneill.org/invitation? Now, the third thing, which is the fourth thing, I'm kind of following myself if nobody else is. We talk about shifting the foundations. We talk about expanding possibilities. We talk about going deeper. But the fourth piece of advice from Sid Banks, if you remember Sid's 4 pieces of advice, keep it simple, go within. It's a feeling, give it away. Well, the fourth thing is giving it away. It's sharing what you're finding with the world in whatever way you're moved to share it. Whether it's nosing the ball, whether it's going, have you heard the good news? Whether it's inviting people, whether it's just being so damn alive that the people around you can't help but go, I'll have what she's having. My friend Rob Cook, who a lot of you know, he and I were talking about what's the mission here, right? He's a military guy. What's the mission? And the phrase we came up with is unfucking the world. So if you would like to join us in our mission of unfucking the world, then the Genius Catalyst certification is the program where I share with people how to share with people. It's for what I call impact professionals, which could mean teachers, it could mean parents, it could mean, well, parents aren't necessarily professionals. That would be weird, I guess. But it could be coaches, it could be anyone who in your work, it could be a business leader. Your job is to impact the lives of others. But it's also for anyone who just wants to make more of a difference in the world, who wants to be part of the journey of unfucking the world. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and go, you can find that one at michaelneill.org/catalyst certification. So beyond that, how do you stay in the conversation if, you know, the memberships and the programs just all feel like a lot, like you're not drawn in that direction? Well, you stay in the conversation by continuing to look in the direction. What direction is that? I hear you say. Well, look in the direction of new and fresh. Like you'll notice there have been some, both from me and others, but there have been very few old stories here over the last 3 weeks. We've deliberately been putting our attention on what we're seeing new and fresh, what we are seeing now, not what we remember seeing at some point in the distant or recent past. Not what we imagine we would see if, just what we're seeing new and fresh. So continue to look for new and fresh. Look to mind. Look to the source. The architect Gaudi said, if you want to be original, go to the origin. Look upstream, not downstream at the effects of our thinking, not directly at the content of our thinking, but what the hell is thought? What kind of a power do we all have within us to create? And how might a deeper understanding of that, a deeper seeing of that, a better feel for that allow us to use it to create more and more and more of what we want? Not just in form, but in experience. Not just for ourselves, but for the world and, at the very least, those we care about most. You stay in the conversation by stepping out of the movie theater whenever it occurs to you. Not trying to fix the movie, not complaining about the movies that are playing and have been playing. God, they've been playing It's a Wonderful Life for 20 fucking years. I know It's a Wonderful Life, but for God's sake, right? Like, it's funny how if you leave the movie theater long enough, when you come back, new movies are showing. They'll still have revivals of the old ones. But it's amazing how many new movies start to get made when you're not there trying to fix the old ones. It's amazing how delicious the fresh batch of cupcakes out of the oven is when you stop trying to put more powdered sugar on the burnt ones to make them taste better. When I first asked one of my teachers what it meant to look to mind, because that's what they said to me, and my reaction was, look, I don't know where that is. I don't know how to look to mind. And they said, well, look where you don't know where to look. The unknown, the not yet created, the fertile void of pure possibility, the space within. Rest in beautiful feelings. Listen to truth. Truth is everywhere. Truth is not the exclusive domain of the three principles. I happen to really love this articulation of truth. But you can find truth everywhere. You'll know it when you hear it. Listen to truth. Rest in beautiful feelings. Show up. Be yourself. See what happens. That's all there is to it. And if you like doing it as part of a community, we're open 24/7. And if you fancy striking out on your own, you've got everything inside you need already. You're good to go.